back everyone, time to go balls deep. And today I'll be breaking down the finale of Maki's massacre. Yes, Maki has legitimately embodied the spirit of Itachi Uchiha, destroying the Zenin clan as she sliced up her daddy's face in half, decapitated her uncle or whatever the heck he was, and she straight up murdered her cousins. And I can't lie, this bloodbath did actually make me quite happy.
Hey yo, what the
You might be thinking, how did this happen? Well, her papa went a little bit too far in his parental abuse. Toxic relationship couldn't be more of a problem for Maki, and the only family she loved ended her life. So, after losing her sister, Maki went through a transformation that ascended her to the level of Megumi's broken ass father, Doji. Mai sacrificed herself, taking any remaining cursed energy Maki had, so her heavenly restriction could go on full effect, blessing her with an unbreakable, super strong body with incredible overall physical prowess, giving us reasons to believe that Maki is now at least a high special grade 1 level. And to top it off, Mai also left her a cursed weapon which seems to be at least a special grade. Now our girl demonstrated her monstrous power up in chapter 150 when she slaughtered the Kukuru or Cuckoo squad, however you like to pronounce their names, and the Hei of the Zenin clan, where Hei was supposed to be the strongest fighting unit in the clan, composed of semi-grade 1 and above members. They also had special grade 1 sorcerers like Ogi, Shinichi and Naoya. For those who got a little bit confused on our last video on what special grade 1 sorcerers are, well, they are the rank above grade 1 sorcerers like Todo, Nanami and Yaga, but just below the ranks of special grades like Yuta, Yuki and Gojo. Maki being able to easily kill special grade 1 sorcerers puts her above them. The only one left is Naoya, who is supposed to be the strongest member and head of Hei. But before we get into Maki's fight with him, in chapter 151 we get a little bit more information on Toji and how much he left an impression on the Zenin clan, including the younger members, specifically Naoya. Yes guys, we find out that Naoya is a simp for Toji, and not only Toji, our guy even simps for Gojo. But who wouldn't, let's be honest. Even I'm a simp for these guys. They're damn too sexy. Hey, wait a minute, that sounded a bit too sus. Hey guys, cut that shit out.
No.
Now, Naoya had made a couple of hints that he is a big fan of Toji, mentioning him during the readings of his father Naobito's will and during his fight with Choso. In both these moments, Naoya acknowledges Toji in a respectful way. Chapter 151 expands on this, as Naoya thinks way back to the time he was a child. Ever since then, he was praised for his genius as the future head of the clan, making his reaction to Megumi being given the title as the next head instead of him even more understandable. Like, think about it. The title of head was promised to him as a child. His entire life revolved around growing up and leading the clan. But all of that was being stripped away from him due to a deal his father made with Toji. Now in Naoya's flashback, we find out that Toji was described to him as the failure of the Zenin clan. A man with no cursed energy, with no power. And Naoya's personality even as a child was pretty unhinged to say the least. He wanted to meet Toji just because he wondered what miserable face he would have as a failure. But what Naoya saw instead was a man of great power, a complete beast. From that moment, with just a glance of how Toji carried himself, Naoya's perspective changed. This exemplifies Toji's presence within Jujutsu Kaisen in general. He unexpectedly shocked Naoya with his presence, probably even influencing that boy to be the man he is today, which is quite similar to what he did by challenging Gojo and Geto in the Hidden Inventory arc. The assassination of Riko gave Toji an outlet to combat the Jujutsu world at its core, even though, you know, it ended in his death. But those actions in effect changed the course of the Jujutsu world, allowing the events of the current timeline to unfold. Naoya feels this presence firsthand as a child, making him become somewhat of an admirer of Toji, which can be seen as kind of weird because he has no issue in killing his son Megumi. But you know, this again is the Zenin clan where Ogi, the father of Maki and Mai, had no problems in killing his own children. Like, come on, what is wrong with these people? Our boy Dancho from Dancho's Hideout actually goes into more detail about this topic, so make sure to check him out. And on that note, if you guys want more Jujutsu Kaisen content, make sure you are binging our Jujutsu Kaisen playlist playlist. We have an extensive backlog. You can watch it while you eat, you can watch it while you take a shit, you can even watch it before you sleep. So make sure you guys check it out after this video. Okay, so Naoya simping for Toji literally drives him insane. Whilst fighting Maki, all he can think of is that she can't be like Toji, attacking her head on without slowing down. Maki, being behind a bit, counts down as she parries Naoya's fist, but he gets a grab on her, locking her in a frame, then sending her flying. I'll explain how Naoya's technique work in a bit, so stick around. But repeatedly Naoya is saying, "You are not Toji," processing his emotions about it. Naoya is taking out his frustration on Maki. However, what's messed up is these frustrations reside in his admiration for Toji, not a drive for revenge, which is super disturbing. Maki just killed 4 Hei members and seemingly all of the Kukuru squad, yet this guy's thoughts are on Maki being a new version of Toji. The truth is, Naoya's thoughts exposes the Zenin Clan fodder Maki took out, that they were scums to him for not realizing Toji's true strength, equating that they did not understand what true strength is at all. His statement, "the sins of small fries is not understanding what true strength is," emphasizes this. Naoya considers it a sin amongst them, so their death could be seen as punishment for ignoring what made Toji so powerful, and that's pretty deep. In his mind, only Gojo was truly able to recognize Toji's true worth. However, for Naoya to mention how they will not understand what true strength is only shows that he saw Toji as a man of power. Beneath the surface, Toji's character was much deeper than just someone whose strength was not recognized. Whilst Naoya in his own ways sees him as an idol, the reality is he never understood Toji at all. Toji in fact was much more like Maki, but probably more mentally damaged by all of the ostracization from the clan. Unlike Maki, Toji did not have a twin to fight for, all he had was himself and his pride. Toji was blessed with heavy restriction, bringing him the OP status he deserved, later being renowned as the sorcerer killer. But this recognition was never really given to him by his clan. Toji was looked down upon and had to go through rigorous training, mastering the use of cursed objects and weapons. And I believe that Toji was constantly given flack, and the concept of the way he fought was looked down upon by his family. We know that Ogi even spouted these ideals to Maki before he threw her into the dungeon, looking down upon heavily restriction. We know that from Ranta's comment in chapter 150, Toji, out of his own whim, decided to leave the clan to exist. If he wanted to, he could have wiped it out. There was a reason Toji would have wiped the clan out in the first place. The reason could have been how they treated him and because how they looked down upon him. To top it off, his wife Megumi's mother might have died and he had no reason to stay. Either way, the day he left, Toji must have shaken the clan to its core. We also know that Toji stopped taking on assassination jobs after he had Megumi, and more than likely on the request of his wife, or maybe his second wife. After Megumi's mother died, Toji seemed to have lost his ideals that he had adopted, as in chapter 75 he references this fact, with his thoughts on how he would have always said he doesn't work for free just before he used to run away from the request. However, the job he took on to fight Gojo was due to his pride and self-affirmation, something which he himself admitted was a deviation from his true self and the reason why he lost his life against Gojo. So what was this reason Toji fell to his pride and self-affirmation? Well, if it wasn't obvious, it was because he doubted his self-worth. Even though he was strong as he was, through his life he was put down by his entire family. He wanted to prove them all wrong by defeating Gojo, who was not only feared by everyone, but also would have given him respect within his own clan for taking out a rival clan's main arsenal. He wanted to feel worthy. The voices he heard throughout his time growing up was still in his head, telling him he's trash, he's garbage, he's nothing, he's not worthy to be a sorcerer. Something Maki and Mai could relate to. The only person in Toji's life that probably gave him some mental support was more than likely Megumi's mother. However, after her death, he was left with a son, who he didn't see fit parenting. Our guy then married another woman, taking on her family name, denouncing his own. However, he believed in his son's potential to the point of selling him to the Zenin family. And let's be real, he didn't sell his son for money, but because he felt that being in the clan with the technique he had, Megumi's life would have been better than it would if he stayed with him. However, even that he doubted. Ultimately, he just wanted the best for his son. All of Toji's decisions stemmed from his insecurities, which was given to him by his own family. He had to fight this mentality just like Maki is doing right now. In the end, Toji felt that his true self was not to feed his ego and not to be proud of himself and others. And this was the path chosen by his wife. Honestly, this is my favorite message in Jujutsu Kaisen. The concept of starving the ego is not just relevant for those who possess power, but for everyone, even in our day and age. And I myself ain't an exception. Everything we have is truly a blessing, just like how Toji saw his son, giving him the name Megumi. Even the fact that me and Untold and everyone at Anime Balls Deep has a huge voice in the anime community is all down to you guys. Every one of you guys are Megumi. So thank you for your constant support, and all I can ask is for you guys to continue continue supporting us down the line. So guys, smash that like button and make sure to put down I am Megumi in the comment section down below. But coming back to Naoya, he just has a simple and plastic view on what strength and true power is. And it seems like he's stuck in a mental trap of wanting to surpass Toji and be amongst the greats, whilst internally monologuing how he will be the strongest standing. Naoya pictures Toji and Gojo in his mind, this being obviously because they are his pinnacle image of power, once again making his ideals of killing Megumi feel poetic because he is the son of both Toji and Gojo. Toji made the deal with Naobito to allow Megumi a place to strive, then gave Gojo the opportunity to take him under his wing. You can say that Megumi is acknowledged by both the pillars of power Naoya visualizes, which most likely makes Naoya envy him. However, in truth, the very ideals that Toji and Gojo fought for, which effectively made them strong, is something Maki carries forward and not him. Which brings us back to the fight. Maki is actually struggling with Naoya's projection sorcery due to the usage of frames and speed. I know, surprising as it seems, we thought she would body him in seconds, but you have to remember she is injured and Naoya is the strongest amongst the Hei unit. Joso, who is a special grade curse room, also had troubles against him. But at this point, let me run you guys through Naoya's curse technique, projection sorcery. This technique is actually the very same inherited Zenin technique that his father, the previous head Naobito, had. As explained in chapter 111, it works by dividing a second into 24 frames. Using their field of vision, they can trace and predetermine a specific set of moves, making up 24 sets of movement in just a second. That's why the users are seen going at supersonic speeds. This technique made Naobito the second fastest Jujutsu sorcerer, with number 1 being Gojo himself. Some of you guys might be thinking, wait a minute, anime balls, our eyes can see faster than 24 frames per second. In fact, I just played Fortnite in 60 FPS. But listen here guys, this technique doesn't allow the user to travel faster than the perception of the eye, but just move extremely fast by completing 24 consecutive movements in only a second. Even though we might be able to perceive it, it will still end up kind of looking like a glitch of a sort. With this technique, there is a catch. Once the user starts the predetermined course of action, it cannot be adjusted, and the movements has to abide by the laws of physics, otherwise the user will freeze in frame. The flip side to this is whilst the technique is active, anything touched by the user's palm must also abide by the 24 FPS rule whilst moving, otherwise they will be stuck in a frame and immobilized for a second, which is something that happened earlier with Maki. But as Naoya and Maki clash, Naoya thinks back to his mistake with Choso and how he stopped too soon, where instead he could have had much more power output if he kept going forwards. Naoya uses the physics of force equals mass times acceleration, where in his case, if he increases his speed, it would combine with his natural body mass to land a more powerful blow. Maki in return gets into a sumo shirainoi style doyuriri stance. I can't even say the word, bro, that's how crazy the stance is. By the way guys, a doyuriri is a ceremony done by sumo wrestlers before the day's matches. The narration explains how Maki's body has lost a lot of blood due to Ogi's blow, so she decided to do this in order to provoke a close quarter conclusion to the fight. This stance is perfect for this because it's a style that the Yokozuna or the highest ranked sumo wrestler will perform before a match. The ceremony consists of a clap and to extend both arms out to the side whilst raising up without bending the left arm to bring it to the chest. This move is utilized as an offensive gesture and stance, displaying confidence that the Yokozuna has. Plus the shiranoi is a major style because of its difficulty due to the strain on the body to hold. This is an extra display of Maki's increase in physical durability and capability due to my sacrifice. This provoking goes noticed by Naoya, but he continues ahead to slap Maki's arm, forcing her to abide by the rules of the projection sorcery. He tries to come from behind for the final blow, thinking how Maki is a fraud for using her body as bait to win the fight, something he feels Toji wouldn't do. None of that matters to Maki though, because she turns around at a perfect speed to land one punch to knock out Naoya, sarcastically asking him to repeat what he said. Maki is such a badass! With her new tragically gained powers, she not only gained a stronger physique, but her perception and reaction time has increased as well. Now Naobito and Naoya's technique allows them to move at a speed that comes off incomprehensible to those fighting them and allies. This is because 24 movements per second are impossible to catch with the naked eye. The eye will always see it as one single movement and not the consecutive frames itself, which again makes it seem like Naoya is jumping from place to place the faster he gets. In his fight with Choso, Naoya stopped attacking assuming he had won already. However, with Maki, he's making sure he goes all out, even hitting subsonic speeds. Maki, however, was taking the blows from Naoya in the beginning, but throughout the fight, Maki was counting down, trying to catch the exact frame per second he was moving at, which she successfully did by combining her new understanding of the projection sorcery after feeling it physically for herself. It gave her the necessary advantage to take out Naoya. Now at this point, some of you guys might be wondering if Naoya is dead. Well, I don't think he is, and you might be thinking, why didn't Maki just kill him? Which she could do in the next chapter, giving him the final blow. But if that isn't her plan, there is very likely a possibility she's only keeping Naoya alive to know where Ogi may have stored the Zenin curse weapons. If you guys forgot, Ogi mentioned a couple of chapters back that he preemptively moved all the weapons, and there may have been a secret area that Maki did not know about where the curse tool can be held at, that only the members of Hei could know about and use. Ogi could have moved the weapons there. She might not need any new weapons considering she has a broken ass sword that Mai left her, but again she does dual wield, and plus there's also Megumi who probably needs a better weapon of choice, and with his 10 shadow technique he can store weapons in his shadows, meaning there's a huge benefit of preparing before the Culling Games. But with that guys, that's pretty much the end of this video. Let me know what you guys think. Again, don't forget to smash that like button, subscribe, and ding that notification bell to stay updated with all our other content. With that, I'll catch you lot next time.